The honourable speakers, distinguished guests, and our very much appreciated lecturer, Madam Ashikin Muhammad Mokhtar. Good evening, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Azrul Nazim bin Azhan and I will be serving as your moderator today. Before we begin, I would like to welcome you all to this forum talk about should child marriage be banned in Malaysia? As we all know, child marriage is the formal or informal marriage of a child under the age of 18 that is most often the marriage of a young girl to an older boy or man. Child marriage has a negative and positive impact to the victim. Both girls and boys are affected by child marriage, but girls are affected in much larger numbers and with greater intensity. Child marriage can be seen across the country, but it is far higher in rural areas than in urban areas. Girls from poor family and with low education levels are more likely to marry at younger age. The issue of child marriage has cropped up over the years in our country, but without much resolution. In this occasion, we shall have our prominent panelists whom I believe shall enrich our insight and knowledge regarding the topic. Allow me to introduce the panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, our first panelist is Nur Sarah bin Muhammad Rashid. Panelist 2, Nur Adriana Akmal binti Adi Izani. Panelist 3, Aina Najwa binti Zulkifli. And the last panelist is Nur Afrah Izzati binti Abu Bakar. The students from University Teknologi Mara Seruman 3 are here to share their thoughts on the topic with us. So, welcome to our honored panelists as we value your presence here to further discuss on today's talk. Without further ado, we will begin with the first question. Okay, Sarah, what is your thought on child marriage? Is it should be banned in Malaysia or not?
Thank you, moderator, for bringing up this good question. Okay, first of all, as we all know that this topic has been talk of the town recently because of the state that don't disagree to ban the child marriage. As for me, I am strongly agreeing to ban the child marriage in our country, as this will help preventing the violence and exploitation. Child marriage is seen by modern society as disgraceful, as it allows young girls to be treated like commodities for irresponsible parents just to sell them for a monetary gain. Marriage before the age of 18 is a violation of their fundamental human rights that impact every aspect of a child's life. It denies the girl her childhood, disrupts her education, limits her opportunities, and endangers her health and even her life. For instance, when a young and teenage girl got married, she will lose all of her freedom. She will lose all of the freedom as she needs to play part as a responsible wife and a mom, even worse if she had a child. Referring to our typical culture that we had in Malaysia, mostly the woman or the wife are responsible in managing the house chores, do the cooks and so on. Thus, the young girls will be suffering after their marriage at a very young age. Furthermore, there is a biological basis for a girl not to be exposed too early for the sexual activity at the young age, as it will be more likely to experience domestic violence and become infected with HIV or AIDS.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sarah, but I would like to share my reasoning that child marriage should not be banned. We should see this issue from another perspective. As we all know, there are now 7 states in Malaysia has refused to agree to prohibit child marriage. Most of the states that did not agree are destitute. The roots of the problems is not about the child marriage itself, but it's about the uneven distributions of wealth in those states. So, the government should solve this problem instead of banning the child marriage. This is because not everyone who marries young women just to take advantage, but sometimes they can be serious and sincere.
Alright, thank you very much to Sarah and Afra. Now I wish to ask the next question to Adriana. Based on what Afra has just stated, what is your point of view regarding this?
Thank you for asking such an excellent question. Okay, from my point of view, I disagree with Afra since child marriage will have a negative impact on one's health. In a study of 4 South Asian countries, researchers discovered links between early marriage and health and nutrition that go beyond the consequences of childbirth at a young age. Some of the consequences, such as an increased risk of domestic violence and poor mental health, may also be passed down to the next generation of young people. The findings of the study, which were published in the open access journal Frontiers in Public Health, demonstrate why early marriage should be considered a serious public health concern. Because these women are so young, they are more likely than not to be having their first children, which are always more dangerous. Some of the negative health consequences of early marriage for both mothers and their children are related to the fact that these women are so young that they are more likely than not to be having their first children. Dr. Alice Reid, one of the study's co-authors, explained that other factors are related to their physiology, such as pregnancy difficulty associated with young biological immature moms. According to our findings, additional variables such as a loss of autonomy and a subordinate home role among people who marry young contribute to poor health outcomes as well. Domestic abuse, poor mental health, and starvation are more common among young people who marry early in their lives. They are also more likely than the general population to have restricted access to healthcare. These negative consequences may then have an impact on their offspring, with females perhaps marrying at an early age as a result.
Thank you, Adriana, for addressing your personal thought on this topic. Okay, I wish to ask this next question to Sarah. Based on what Adriana has just stated, what is your point of view regarding this?
Indeed, I totally agree with Adriana's points. And in my side point of view, once the girls got married, the girls face intense social pressure to prove their fertility. Usually when married to the older husbands, it can be difficult for the girls to express their wishes, particularly when it comes to negotiating to a safe sexual practices. And the use of family planning methods, as a result, they are more likely to experience frequent and way too early pregnancies. As I mentioned earlier, it will cause a range of long-term health complications such as HIV or AIDS, and in some cases it will lead to fatal. The dangers of childbirth in a young mother are well known, such as low birth weight, especially with a premature birth, is a common cause of death of the newborn. Pregnancy-induced hypertension or high blood pressure that can lead to seizures or fits. This is common cause of death in pregnancy and childbirth, in other way that this baby's head could not pass through the narrow immature pelvic opening and will threatening the life of both mother and the baby.
I agree with that, Sarah. Child marriage often result in early pregnancy, which carry serious health risks, including death, for both young brides and their babies. Girls that age around 15 to 19 years old are twice as likely to die during delivery process than women that give birth on average age of 20 to 24 years old. After giving birth, the children of the child brides are more likely to be stillborn or die within the first week of their life compared to the children of women who gave birth after they reach maturity age. Stillbirths and newborn death are 50% higher for mothers that age of 20 compared to women that gave birth after age 20 years old and above. Child brides also more likely to have babies with low weight at birth, with severe long-term effect on their health and development. This is due to the young mother poor nutrition during pregnancy, physical and emotional immaturity to handle the responsibility of a mother, lack of access to social and reproductive services, and higher risk for infectious disease.
Thank you, Sarah and Ayin, for addressing your personal thought on this topic. But I have another question to ask Ayin. What is your perspective towards child marriage?
Alright, thank you, moderator, for the question. Okay, to answer the question, from my perspective, I disagree with the idea of child marriage because child marriage usually does not last long. According to the Stars Online News, an estimated around 12 million girls are married every year before they reach the age of 18 years old, which is a legal age to get married in Malaysia. There is almost 32,000 girls a day, or almost 23 girls every minute, who are being married off way too soon. A study by UNICEF in 2018 shows that young girls that get married before reach their maturity age, they face difficulties in trying to maintain the relationship and in committing to the marriage itself. Besides, the bride tend to dissolve or annul their marriage because of a few factors such as a large age gap between spouses, the treatment and physical abuse by husband, and husband over-exertion of authority in the relationship. In my opinion, in a relationship where there is such a large age gap between spouses, such as a marriage between an 18 years old and a 14 years old, the large age gap can contribute to the over-exertion of authority, and physical abuse is most likely to occur. Not to mention the divorce and the separation could lead to a larger problem, especially if the young bride got divorced after having a child. Because now, the young brides need to carry the responsibility as a mother at such a young age, while other girls at her age are busy studying or catching their dreams, while the brides need to carry a heavy role as a mother. It will be much harder if the young brides does not have a support system to help with the motherhood chores. Consequently, the young bride will feel isolated, with their freedom might be a little bit curtailed, but now they have more responsibility as a mother, and they may feel disempowered and deprived of their fundamental rights to health, education, and safety. Not to mention the psychological effects that it can cause in long term.
Sorry for interrupting. In my opinions, under Malaysia's Islamic and civil laws, it is still legal for children under the age of 18 to get married. For non-Muslim girls, they can marry from the age of 18, while for Muslim girls, they can get married as young as 16 years old with the permissions of Chief Minister. The Muslim minimum age for girls is 16 and boys is 18, but exceptions can be made for girls and boys to marry at a younger age with the consent of Sharia court. It's true that many child weddings have negative consequences, particularly for the bride, but this only occurs in a few nations, that numerous instances in a few countries where the woman retain her rights. I propose the regulations governing child marriage can be made more stricter to safeguard the prospective bride.
So far, we have already heard many thoughts on the banning of child marriage. Now we have moved to the panelist that disagrees to ban child marriage. Okay, Afra, as we know, you have been expressing strong opinion on these issues and disagree with the topic. So, what is your thought on child marriage? Why is it should not be banned in Malaysia?
Thank you for asking such a good questions. Okay, from a point of view, I disagree with the issue since I feel religion is a good thing to do. According to the study from Quran and Hadith, marriage at a young age is strongly recommended in Islam. There are several techniques in Islam to prohibit all Muslim young people from having sex before marriage. Aisha was also married to Prophet Muhammad while she was young for a purpose. One of the reasons is that Aisha has already entered the puberty. It's likely that the court intended for Prophet Muhammad to marry a young woman. As a result, she may outlast him by the many years and also gains crucial Muslim references and resources following the Prophet Muhammad's death. There are several examples nowadays that bring the youth generations into the sexual intercourse before marriage. This is because kids may quickly get unfavorable information in the internet and also affected by their peers. We may mitigate the situations by educating the youth about the advantage of marrying early.
Please excuse my interruption, but I disagree with Afra's statement. Marrying a young age is permitted in Islam. A rationale for the practice of child marriage has thus been provided by this. What we have here is more of an exploitation situation. Many parents try to prevent their children from having sex before marriage by getting them married early in life. Legality cannot be maintained for this conduct, regardless of its religious origins. Aisha was at least 18 years old when Muhammad married her, contrary to popular belief, and many Muslims are still unaware of this.
Wow, that is remarkably interesting coming from all the panelists. Thank you, Adriana. And to summarize, there are several negative and positive impacts to the victim. So perhaps the right solution could be possibly done by the government, such as providing economic support and incentive to girls and their families, enhancing girls' access to high-quality education, or encouraging supportive laws and policies. So that, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally come to an end. If you have any questions that you would like to ask our panels, you can ask in the question box or you can ask them directly. And we would like to say thanks again to all panelists for their informative and interesting talk, and to the audience for your active participation. Hopefully, our discussion on this topic will be beneficial for everybody. Thank you for your attention. Good evening and Assalamualaikum. Goodbye.